Hi everybody, Monty McKinnon here. Thank you for joining me. I'm very excited. The book Priorities, Encouragement and Inspiration for Busy People, along with, well, that's the way I see it, another book of encouragement for busy people. Both those books are available on Amazon and they've done very well, and I'm getting great reviews on them. So if you haven't got a copy, you might want to do this. But what I want to let you in on is the editing on the mystery book is coming along extremely well. And it's only going to be a couple more weeks of editing, and then we're going to be done and be able to get that book printed and launched. And I'll let you know more about that as we get there. I can't tell you too much about it, otherwise I spoil the mystery for you. I don't want to do that. So you're going to enjoy that book. I know you will. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about taking the fingerboard and we're going to glue this onto the neck. And it's not as straightforward as you would think, where you just slap some glue on and glue it, clamp it, and walk away and come back. You have to think about what's going to happen in the future. If you ever have to take the fingerboard off, how do you do that? And what would the best glue be to do that, to allow you to do that? Now, this is Titebond. This is great glue. Most of the body on the guitar is put together with Titebond. And the thing about Titebond is not only is it a good glue and it sets up nicely, but the thing you have to know about is if you ever had to take this off, Titebond does not stick to itself again. You get one shot at it the first time, and then that's it. You would have to take it and scrape it all off of here, scrape it all off of here if you use Titebond on here, and then you would simply re-glue it. But it's a pain. So it's good glue, but there is a bit of a drawback there for me. Now, this, available from Lee Valley, and no, they're not sponsors. They should be, but they're not. This glue is fish glue. This will re-stick to itself. So if something happened, for example, the bridge on your guitar started to lift, you could, if you've used this, heat it, reclamp it, and it would stick again, and you could do an easy repair. Whereas with this, you'd have to take the bridge off, scrape it down, clean it, clean up the top of the guitar, reclamp the whole thing, and start all over again. Now this is an epoxy. I don't use a lot of epoxy on the guitar body. There are a few places where I like to use an epoxy. Now, this is the wrench that I use, which is simply an Allen key for the bolts that hold the neck on. Now, with my hands, it's really difficult. So what I did is where the little hook is on the Allen wrench, I sawed that off with a hacksaw. I took a 2x2, drew some lines across here and across here, drilled a hole on the drill press, mixed up the epoxy, shoved this into the hole so it's all surrounded with epoxy. Now I have a perfect size wrench, if you will, for tightening and loosening the neck, and it's a good size grip. You know how you get those tiny little puny handles that's meant for a 3-year-old? They're terrible. I like a big man-size handle that you can take and then you can really tighten it up. So that's a good glue for that. Now, one of my favorite glues that I use all the time is Starbond. And the Starbond comes in a thin, it comes in a medium, it comes in a thick, it comes in black, it comes in white, and it's great glue. Now, I want to show you, and I'm going to demonstrate here how we're going to use this right now. So let me just show you here. These are the inserts that are in here. These will take the bolts that will screw into here. But just to make sure that they don't move, I've already done the top one. I'm going to do the bottom one here. And I'm going to put a little bit of thin glue in here. And I'm just going to let it wick its way in and around the glue part here. It's going right in the side. Okay, that's pretty good on that side. Now, just to make sure, I use the accelerator. That's more than enough. I'm now going to do the other side. There we go. We'll give it a little squirt there. That's just a little extra insurance. These things are threaded, and when you screw them in, they form a thread around inside the wood. But that little bit of extra Starbond in there keeps it tight and doesn't allow it to back off on you, and that'd be tragic if that happened. Now, there's another spot here on the neck. I keep telling you, with Starbond, you're using it all the time. Now, in order to get this thing lined up properly on the neck, you find your center point here, and I've got it marked here, and I've got my center point marked on here, and I got my center point marked down in here. Now this is a little filler piece because this was a piece of wood that was, this neck was given to me, and it was meant for a different truss rod. So I've just filled that in there just so I can make sure that it's nice and snug, and it is, and it's all going to fit perfect. Now, you can see I've got some mahogany wings on here, and here's what I do with this. I put this, I get this all lined up. I've got the nut where it should go. I now take my Starbond, and I can use, I'm going to use medium on this one. And I'm just going to put a little dab of medium in here. Just a small little dab. And now what I'm going to do is spray this with the accelerator. And I've got this all lined up. I now take this and I put it in tight to the side of the neck. And that's there, and that's done. Look at this hand going like crazy. Got a pair of hands for sale. Anybody need them? Go figure, right? Oh my goodness. All right, so this is in here. What that does is allow me to take this out, and I can put it back in because I've got pieces on either side that's going to bring this thing right back to where it should be. I like to put the nut, the actual piece of bone that I'm going to use, right in here, so that when I clamp it, I can push this thing right up tight, and I can see this is square here with the end and the 14th fret, which is what I want. And I have already measured in from either side of this, and I know that I'm 9 millimeters on either side. So I'm center here, I'm centered in here, and it's all good. So now what I have to do is just clamp that. Now, here's something that I like to do. This is the truss rod. It's a two-way truss rod. I have already checked it to make sure that it is got no tension on it and it's perfectly flat, and it is. So now what I'm going to do is I'm taking some bathtub and kitchen sealer, the caulk here from Kitchen Bathtub Adhesive Caulk, and I'm just going to put in the channel here just a tiny little squirt, and I'm just putting that as we go along. I don't need a lot of it. Okay, now the reason for this is because at some point with different tones, different musical notes, I don't want any vibration coming from this truss rod into the wood affecting the sound of this guitar that we're making. So I put that in there so that when I put this back down in here, so that would absorb any kind of vibration and stop it from happening. So it's not going to be an issue. Now, because I've got the wings on here, I'm not concerned about this because I know that this is going to fit right in there perfectly. And there you go. So we've got the goop in the channel here. The only other thing I want to do here right now is I made a little bit of out of a tongue depressor, a small little piece here to fit in here, just to go down, because I don't like gaps on the top here. And there we are. And it's all flush. Everything is flush on here right now, and it's all good. Now, because this will stick to itself, and it also washes up with water, as will the Titebond. Now I'm using this glue spreading device that was given to us at birth. And I just run that all the way up and down here. Okay, we're good. We've got this thing all set to go. Now the fish glue gives you more setup time so that you can take your time and make it work. Now, this is nice and smooth. I ran it through the thickness sander one more time just to make sure that this is all smooth, and it is, and we're all set to go. So it's going to, as we know, just simply slide into place. There we go. And I will take this off in a minute, but for now I'm going to put that right there because I want that nice and snug. And it is, and I know it's straight. Now, this is how I hurt my hand when I was working on this the last time. I was clamping this, and I just squeezed too hard because that's what I do. So I won't do that. This is a caul going on the top here of the fingerboard, just so that I don't mark it up. There you go. The fingerboard is glued on, and it's going to take quite a while to set up because this glue takes several hours to set up. I'll probably come back in about 4 or 5 hours and check it out and see how we're doing, and then I may remove the clamps at that point. The key here is using the right glue, because if I ever have to take that off, I can do it with this, and it's very easy with a spatula and some heat, and you can get that off. So the fingerboard is in place. We've got some caulking in there just to take out any sympathetic sounds that might vibrate in the neck. You never want that. And the neck fits fine, and the truss rod fits into the body fine. So we're all good. We just have to wait. And the next thing up is to start shaping this. So that's it. It looks pretty good. I'm happy with this. So that's it for this video. Yorkshire tea for you, Gary. I hope you appreciate this. Gary is a friend of mine over in England, and he's a connoisseur of tea, and he has recommended Yorkshire tea, and that's what we're having today because of you. Thanks, Gary. And let me tell you, that's mighty fine tea. It's made by Taylor's. Yorkshire Gold and Yorkshire tea. This is Yorkshire Decaf, so that I don't shake. And as you can see, my hands don't shake, right? Right. Okay, so there we go. We're all looking great. I just need to take that out. Almost forgot that. I don't want that glued in there because we got to do work on that. So we're all set. I hope you'll get yourself some Starbond, so when you're putting the neck in, you can put those little tabs on the side and just slide it right in, and it lines up perfectly, so you know you've got a straight neck when you're going to put your frets in, which is what you'll see me do in another video shortly. So that's it. This is neck part 5. We're done. Part 6 coming up. Oh my goodness. Are you having any fun? I am. Thank you. All right. See you in the next video. Okay, here we go.